Oh, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think we see every day the inability or the lack of interest of stakeholders to really allow us to go in and do the analysis that we need to do. And I don't know, I'm curious your thoughts. Do you think that's a lack of education on our parts of L&D, like educating stakeholders on really the process of developing good learning? Or do you think, it's just the nature of the business, they just want something fast, and they always just think, oh, training's the quick and easy answer, let's just get some training and everything will be better. So just curious your thoughts on how do we get through to stakeholders the importance of analysis? Because I think that's key to what you're saying in terms of not having it be a silver bullet, have it be more applied to what the real issues are.
Well, Therese, even your question there, you've got several options, and it's all of those things. The reasons that stakeholders don't want to engage so much in analysis, they want what they expect, which is a lot of the time sometime training, and perhaps they don't seem open to exploring alternatives. Is multifaceted. But I think that the long and the short of it for me is that that first of all, there is high value on learning and development and training in organisations. People do believe in it, and even in an employee value proposition, a lot of the time, the days spent training or the amount of money applied to each employee is promoted within job applications. So there's a high value to offering learning and development. But I think that there is a low expectation on what learning and development can predictably and reliably actually affect. And I think that's inside learning and development and for stakeholders as well. But there isn't, again, in the same way as I said, there's no silver bullet tech issue, tech solution. There's not a silver bullet solution for learning and development in this regard either. In my experience, we need to earn credibility within our organizations and then earn currency that we can spend. And the way that we do that, I think, is first of all, we need to understand and expect more from ourselves that we wish to affect performance. I think too many in learning and development don't believe they can affect performance, so don't engage in conversations around performance, because when you do, you realize that stakeholder isn't going to siphon off the knowledge and skills part of a conversation for you. Everything comes onto the table, which is right. We need to explore all the reasons that people aren't able to efficiently or effectively perform in the context of their role and then deliver results. But also, we need to develop our own credibility around what we think we can achieve and what we engage in conversations about. And I think that, first of all, we need to stop any questions around what we don't have in the organization. So a lot of the time, somebody who is more performance oriented in learning and development, who wants to change learning and development from a learning focus to a performance focus, if they don't build the credibility and they're not working on their savvy, they might say, right, we're going to get rid of e-learning and training in order to focus only on performance. But when you do that, what you do is you're seen to be taking something away, and then there is the perceived value of the thing you took away, which is probably greater than the actual value, but that is a massive distraction from the thing you're doing. So what you need to do is you need to largely silence the dissenting voices by having enough online content and enough curricula to stop people from saying, where's my stuff that I go on. But then once you've got that, you need to engage in conversations with stakeholders around the outcomes of the solutions that they're asking for. So you could do this by pushing a conversation from what you'd like delivered to what is it there to achieve. What's the consequence of not having the knowledge and skills right now? And probably the most powerful question within all this is, what's the cost of doing nothing? What the cost of doing nothing can lead you to data around but what the consequence is of this deficit in skills and knowledge, so that you can understand the data and then start moving the needle. I know we'll come later, I'm sure, to actual impact. But what I'm saying here is that we need to develop the credibility within our organization, so that we can have these conversations with our stakeholders, keep them at bay from asking for things that may be largely a distraction, but then do the analysis or the discovery that we wish to talk about, but in a way that doesn't paralyze the process. You talked about speed earlier. A lot of the time, stakeholders want something. They want something quick. And a lot of the time, they've already sold training to their team or to their to their department. So to be told that there wouldn't be training sometimes, again, acts as a distraction. So we need to be savvy in ourselves to push beyond the immediate request, to talk about outcomes, consequences, and the risk of not actually addressing this, and then we move on, and we can partner with the people who are expected to do the work. And by doing so, which my podcast, Matt mentioned in the intro, the Learning and Development podcast, I talk with people who have made this pivot and who are achieving so much more, so much faster, and are able to demonstrate actual impact by doing so. But again, I'm sure that you will get to those points.